You want to try that?
Yeah, I've never tried that.
You want the Buffalo Trace, right?
Man, I'll probably drink that whole bottle if you let me.
What is that? What is that? Whiskey? What kind of whiskey is that?
That's a Buffalo Trace.
Yeah, I used to drink a lot of Jack back in the day. Oof.
Dude, I can't do that anymore.
Yeah, I mean,
Jack Daniels, I'd kick out windshields.
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
Tequila was like that for me.
Yeah, I remember the last sip of tequila I ever had. I almost vomited, and then I was at a bar in Toronto with a bunch of friends, and they lined up tequila, and they said, "All right, everybody do it," and I went like this, and just dumped it behind me, and the bartender looked at me like, "What the fuck
Faked
you
it
doing?"
out.
Because I was like, I know I'm gonna
Yeah.
fucking vomit if I do it.
Yeah.
The second last time I tried it, I almost threw up in my mouth.
That's like the party tequila, because there's really good tequila now.
Oh,
we
yeah,
have like
it's a big popular thing.
we
now.
have Dobel, which is this right here is an amazing tequila. This here is like so smooth. That tequila that's not like your
the Quavo.
right.
Quavo and all that. The yellow and the gold.
Yeah,
the gold and the
with the
white.
worm in it and all that bullshit.
Have you ever ate the worm?
Yeah, that smells.
Oh
like
yeah, probably back in like
Yeah, me
college
too.
days. You
that
know,
smells nice. Like, it doesn't smell as
that
crazy
right
as
there,
other tequila.
yeah, that's like on ice. That's a
Tequila.
nice sipping tequila. But you're right. Like that party tequila and Jack Daniels,
Yeah.
it turns young people into idiots, and it did me too.
Yeah.
But it's not until you find good stuff, you're like, you tell somebody tequila, like, oh no, I can't. It's like, well, yeah, because you had.
Shitty tequila. Yeah.
That's how I'm with Southern Comfort. I drank Southern Comfort one night, like so much, and I got so sick. Now, if I even smell it,
Yeah.
I'm like,
Some people are like that.
I might throw up thinking about it. It's so bad.
Yeah.
Like I was exorcist vomiting in the middle of a House of Blues parking lot in Myrtle Beach. And the cops were, I was vomiting so much, the cops rode by and was like, fuck this guy. Just kept going.
Well, yeah. Well, they see that a lot in Myrtle Beach.
Well, the thing is, they're like, we're not getting near that puke pile.
No.
Well, cheers, guys. Hey, thanks for being here.
Cheers.
We're starting?
Yeah, why not?
It's already going?
Let's do it. Let's do it. Two great guests that are in the film location community, or just pop culture in general. We have Ray from Nerd Locations.
Hey.
We have Scott from Scott on Tape.
What's up? Where am I looking? What's up? Right there?
Sure, that's your. There you
Look
go.
at you.
You can connect right to the
Should I
audience
look right at
right
Reagan the whole
there.
time? Stare at him?
I love you, Scott.
I'll fall madly in love.
Let's do it. I got green eyes. It's
I got a
rare.
boner. The bar is raising.
Are those contacts or are they just
No,
green?
just green. I have the rarest eye color ever. At least that's what somebody
sounds
told
made
me.
up right away.
I probably is, but my eye doctor told me that.
Have you ever heard the myth years ago? If you have green eyes, you're full of envy.
No, but somebody told me recently people with really green eyes are aliens. So maybe that's the secret of my success is I'm an alien.
Good movie, Michael J. Fox.
The secret of my
That came out-
that was a real reference. That was a strong reference.
But that was that before or after? What was the one where he was a small town doctor? What's it?
Doc Hollywood.
Doc
That
Hollywood.
was 90. 91, 92?
Great fish out of water.
Yeah.
You know?
Light of Day was a good movie he made.
Yeah, Light of Day. That was a rock movie, right?
The locations for that are in Ohio, and they're still standing, believe it or not.
Really?
Yeah, a couple of the bars that they played in. But what was that other Michael J. Fox movie? Between Secret of My Success, he did Bright Lights, Big City with Kiefer Sutherland.
That was more the darker
Right.
Michael J.
Right.
Fox.
Yeah, it was
right?
and Casualties of War, dark movie. That's a great movie.
Ooh, I don't know if I've seen that.
Oh, I love it.
Was
Sarge,
that-
what are we doing in there?
Was that Vietnam?
Yep. So,
Well, I don't think I saw
flashbacks
that
if you
one.
were there. Just a warning, trigger warning.
You talking to me or them?
I don't know.
he doesn't have a trigger switch, just so you know. You can say whatever you want in front of Chris.
I met him in real life, and he's really, really short. He's really short.
Tell that story. How'd you meet Michael J. Fox?
Yeah, it's funny. Remember the movie Life of Mikey?
Yeah.
Yeah, the wrestling movie he did. He's filming it near a university in Toronto, and I was driving and with my girlfriend at the time, and we saw their set, like it all set up for them to be filming at the university. They're filming at, I believe, the wrestling scenes were shot in a hall called Very Hall on York University campus. So we drove on to the campus, and we were like, oh man, and because we knew it was Michael J. Fox movie, and we saw one trailer really, really far away from everybody else's, and I said to my girlfriend, that's Michael J. Fox's trailer. Gotta be. Sitting in the middle of nowhere while everybody else is all. So we went, there was a guy sitting outside, we said, hey, excuse me, is this Michael, this is like 1994, 95, I don't know. This is Michael J. Fox's trailer, and he goes, Yeah, you want to meet him? We're like, yeah. He goes, well, I think he's sleeping. Let me see if he's up. Goes inside. Goes inside. About 2 minutes later, comes out. And goes, yeah, he's asleep. I woke him up. You just give him a minute. Swear to God. I've got a picture and I got an autograph. He comes out. His hair's just. He goes, hey, what's up? You guys wanted to meet me? And we just sat and talked to him for like 5 minutes. I told him how much I love Casualties of War. I think I just went on and on about Casualties of War to him. And then, he signed some stuff for me and my girlfriend at the time. And then he said, okay, I guess, I don't know how it ended. I can't remember. I'm sure it wasn't me. I'm sure it's him. He's like, okay, we talked long enough. But that shows. I mean, that's a very Canadian thing. And it's also a very nice thing. You know, like to wake up and go meet some, people that are just trying to meet you. We were just fans. It was awesome.
Now, Michael J. Fox is one of. I think if he hadn't caught the Parkinson's, he was on a trajectory in Hollywood to be not a Leonardo DiCaprio, but a guy who transformed Back to the Future into like some next level roles. I mean,
I think he is Hollywood royalty now. I think he'd still be doing. Well,
he's a reliable actor.
Yeah.
Like he's the kind of actor that you could get and be like, yeah, he's gonna perform.
Yeah.
He's gonna be. We know what we're gonna get with Michael J.
Oh,
Fox.
That's what I did. I do remember I asked him that. I said, do you think this movie's gonna be any good? And he literally looked at me like, he goes, I'm just making these movies. Once I leave the set, once I leave town, it's out of my hands. It's up to the director. I have no idea. I could tell he was not wanting to do that movie. and it was
which one?
Life with Mikey.
Yeah, I don't.
He's like a wrestling manager or something
one.
with a little kid.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't remember.
Yeah.
Remember the poster for it. But yeah, he looked very discouraged by the Hollywood scene. Like he was done with it. Kind of like
What
not
year?
done with it.
90, you said
93, 94, 95,
yeah.
anywhere around there.
Yeah.
Here's a piece of location trivia that Scott and I uniquely probably know. In Back to the Future, when George is in the tree and he's spying on Lorraine.
Yeah.
That's the same house used in Teen Wolf.
Right.
No
Michael J.
shit,
Fox's
really?
house in Teen Wolf.
Yep.
Same on Bushnell Avenue, which Bushnell Avenue is kind of like a small backlot in Pasadena. You have the old schoolhouse, Back to the Future, Ghost Dad, Teen Wolf.
Pee-wee's house is right around the
Pee-wee's
corner.
house, Mama's house is right around the corner.
Mama's family, yeah.
Mama's family.
It's a real like street neighborhood
Oh, yeah.
area.
People live there.
The tree that George was on, the branch is still hanging over the road.
Oh, let's go cut it
But
down.
yeah, when he's looking in on Lorraine in Back to the Future, that's Michael's house in Teen Wolf.
And
Isn't it-
Biff's house is beside the old schoolhouse, I believe. The old
Yeah.
schoolhouse is first, and then Biff's house, and then up the street is another Back to the Future house. But they use it all there. It's crazy. And then not too far, really close, are all the Halloween houses from the original Halloween and the Rob Zombie Halloween.
Yep.
They're all there.
That street is just royalty.
The one side of Bushnell with all the houses is beautiful houses, but the other side with the tree, those houses aren't as nice.
No,
they're
they're
not
not.
as nice. They're a little smaller
Smaller.
and different. Yeah, it's weird.
That's where you stand to take the picture
Yeah,
of the
exactly.
other side of the
Yeah.
street.
But people will come up to you all the time and go, "Oh, you're a fan of whatever," and they're like, "Yeah."
Those movies. Oh God, I love that era. Like, I just don't see movies. I don't know. I just love that era. 70s, 80s, 90s.
Teen Wolf's an underrated movie. It's just fun, and it's a little, they swear a bit in it.
And I think they made it. I think MTV made a TV show
Yeah.
out of it. It's like,
Teen
come
Wolf,
on,
yeah.
just why can't we listen? I say this a lot on this podcast, but I'll say it to you guys. Why can't we just leave good enough alone? Why do we have to remake these things?
I will disagree with you on that. You know why? And I see it in your face. Because first of all, Hollywood's out of ideas, but there's always new ideas being written and being.
So there's the creativity issue.
Yeah, there's that. They have this property that they know that it's got a built-in audience and was a success once, so why not? Wouldn't it be a success again? But I'm all for it. I always say remake anything from my childhood or from my teen years or whatever. Reboot it, remake it, do whatever you want, because I get to see it again in a different setting. I get to see if they improved on it or if they did worse. I get to watch the same story that I enjoyed. But, the movie's always going to be there. I guess maybe everybody always says, I don't know if it's true though, if a kid or a young person watches a remake or reboot, they'll go back and watch the original.
I hope so.
I hope so, but I don't know if that's the case.
But it's like those movies that can't be remade. Like, you can't remake Back to the Future because it's a time travel movie anyway, right? So leave that one alone. You're not going to remake Jaws. As It's a perfect movie. In my opinion, it's a perfect movie. Yeah, the shark looks like shit, but the actors, the story, the directing, the acting in it is so amazing.
You know what is funny that you mentioned Jaws is, as Ray knows, I like my hot tubs at my hotels that I stay at. And I went down a couple nights ago to use a hot tub, and there's a bunch of little kids in it. So I was like, well, there goes that, you know. And they treat it like a kiddie pool. So I was going to turn around and go back to my room to wait till the kids go because I need to relax by myself. One of the little girls, as I was listening, she was talking to her sister. She was going up to her. She was going, dad, through the water. And she couldn't have been more than 6. I was like, how the hell does she know the Jaws theme and know that as a shark? She was pretending to be a shark going through the water.
Well, my hope,
parent.
My hope in humanity has been restored. If that is the case,
I swear that she was singing the Jaws.
Because I don't think the Meg has a tune.
No, but you didn't have John Williams scoring it either.
Right.
Now that's true.
But
too,
how would you
right?
know that at that age?
Right.
I mean, we would back then because Jaws was around all the time. But I guess Jaws is just still a big movie for people.
100%. It's just I don't know. For me, one of the perfect movies. If there was 5 perfect movies, that would be, that's in the 5.
Yeah, but this day and age, you have a lot of parents who go, you know what, I'm going to show my kid 5 movies or 10 movies from my childhood. I'll leave them alone after that to watch whatever. And I can see how Jaws is on that list for people because when I saw it, when I was a kid, I literally would not get in the ocean
or the
for
pool.
years.
I want to get in the pool.
Yeah.
I was a kid.
I was a big pussy.
Yeah, I would not get in
If
the
Jaws
ocean.
were remade today, if it were, it'd be. I can guarantee you, it would be a half hour shorter, and the shark would be
in every scene.
Because they'd be like, well, why are they having this conversation in the boat? Like 3/4 of the way into the movie.
We don't
need this conversation. They'd scrap it now because you need constant action
But that conversation in the boat
so important.
is the tension.
Oh yeah,
and it's an amazing story.
Mm-hmm.
You get backstory of Quint. You get this tense moment. You hear if you watch that scene and you hear the sound design of those boards creaking.
Oh, it's crazy. You're right.
And if you've ever just been out on even a lake at night and you feel desolate, like it's just a perfect scene in a perfect movie.
Yeah. Yep.
With perfect acting.
I think Jaws had one of the best ripoffs. Like, all the 80s had ripoffs. Like if something come out, you would have a B version. Piranha.
Oh
Piranha.
yeah.
Remember Piranha?
Yeah.
Oh my god, dude.
The new Piranha movies, there's 3 of them. They're all good. Yeah. The ones that take place at water parks, they're crazy. Even a lake or something, they're crazy.
Even the alligator series.
Oh
yeah. That scared the hell. That's why I love alligators, and that's helped cement my fear of alligators at the time.
What was the one with Betty White in it? What was that?
Oh, Lake Placid.
You know something crazy about Betty White that I'm sort of sketched out by?
She's still alive.
Well, that obviously.
Man,
you and I know that secret. But when she died, she not let anybody inherit her house. They had to tear it down to the ground and sell it for land value. So that tells me, what was Betty White doing in that house?
What was Betty White hiding?
That she wanted to destroy in her past
is
life.
That for real that she wanted to destroy?
Yeah, that was part of the deal. They could only sell the land for land value, and she wanted the house.
I know she had a lot of board games, and that she had a lot of board game nights where everybody in Hollywood would go, like Rock Hudson. We're talking everybody. And one of the last videos you'll see on YouTube of her house can be found on Scott on Tape. I went to her house like 2 days before it was torn down and filmed outside. But I wish I waited 2 days. I probably could have walked inside. She couldn't even hang on to 100 week.
I like that. I like the idea of her being a serial killer better. That's just me.
What she's hiding.
Yeah, what she's hiding.
Well, the house, if you look at it, the house looked different than every other house on the block. So she was different. She was her own drummer.
Yeah, she stayed at the Cecil, I heard, for a little while, too.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Not really, but...
I know.
Oh, is that where
I was playing along.
That's where Richard Ramirez
lives.
lives.
I got my things went down.
We're just so fascinated with fame as human beings.
For sure.
We just are so fascinated by it. And then when we meet famous people, we're like, oh, they're just like us.
Yeah.
I've met several famous people. You guys have met several famous people. But for the mass majority of people, when you meet somebody famous, you're like, man, yeah, that's the guy that was in.
Yeah, it's crazy to see them in person sometimes. Yeah, for sure. Especially someone you admire or someone you like, It's really weird. It's cool.
Scott can probably attest to this. What's really crazy is when you're out in LA is when you spot them in the wild.
Yes.
You're like, oh, there's Seal, or whoever,
Right.
you're like, oh my God, there's the guy from Reservoir Dogs or whoever. And they're just in the Books A Million looking at magazines or whatever.
Dude, I was in I was in Santa Monica at the Old Navy in Santa Monica, and I ran into Jerry Bruckheimer.
Wow.
Really?
And just him and I, we were outside of the Old Navy holding bags, and he would just I just asked, I said, "Are you Jerry Bruckheimer?" He goes, "Yeah." We just start talking. Yeah, like 5 minutes. He gave me 5 minutes.
You could see celebrities there all the time. I saw Nicole Kidman shopping there by herself, no security or anything, just sunglasses, walking around shopping.
I would tell people that are going to LA, and I'm like, you don't go to Hollywood. It's not in the movies. You look at Hollywood Boulevard and Sunset Boulevard in the movies, it looks like everything's right there.
Right.
That's not the case, right?
No.
I tell people, go to Santa Monica, go to Malibu, you do not go to Hollywood Boulevard. You're not going to see
celebrities. Go to the Grove on Fairfax. You're going to see. I mean, that's just the mall and the place to go to shop. You'll see them, and I mean, maybe it would in Beverly Hills walking around. But every time I've been to film something in Beverly Hills, like I'm actually talking about Rodeo Drive, but like Beverly Hills, the city. The rest of it, where I'll film. But on Rodeo Drive, if there's a celebrity, there's 100 tourists to every 5 locals on Rodeo Drive for sure. So if you see a celebrity, there'll be bodyguards. If they're going to Rodeo Drive, they know that there's going to be a million tourists there. So I've only ever... who's that? Oh, that's Justin Bieber's there, apparently? Okay.
There's a car on the curb waiting.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and on Rodeo Drive, because they're going to shop and they're going there to get their stuff, and they know there's tourists.
Well, there's areas in LA that celebrities go and they will call the people ahead of time and say, like Craig's restaurant over off Robertson. It's a restaurant called Craig's. It's right near the Sir from... that Bravo show, but there's celebrities there every night. Like I went there, I saw years ago, saw John Mayer with Katy Perry, saw Kathy Griffin, I saw Good Charlotte, Mel Gibson. But they go there on purpose.
Yeah, they got to eat.
If they need a little pop for something they're promoting, they'll go to the Grove.
Sure.
They'll go to Craig's. There's like a few places you can go, but Grauman's Chinese Theater is not it.
So that brings me to this segue about locations, because these celebrities, these actors are known for these certain movies or TV shows, right? Well, they had to shoot them somewhere. So what's left after the film crew leaves, after all the Winnebagos leave, after everybody leaves, all that's left behind is the location.
Right.
And now that's becoming, it's always been, it's like that's just as...
Film tourism. It's becoming a thing,
Yeah, it's really blown up in the last couple of years with people wanting content for whatever, and they'll stumble across Scott or my page or one of our friends' pages and they'll pick one movie usually and say, I really want to see Knight Rider locations, and then they'll catch the buzz and be like, well, if I can do that, Wayne's World is up the street, and then if I can do that, I could go see where the Runaways recorded. I could go, and it just becomes like a hobby, and it's free.
Right.
And it's the most innocent, non-invasive hobby ever.
Right.
And I would say 95% of us are all a community and respectful, and the houses are cool, and it adds value to the houses, which is crazy. Like if you go by Marty McFly's house now, you're going to easily pay $500,000 over retail because it's that house. So it's film tourism has become a big thing. And I was just in Korea, and there was a shot I wanted to get. And I spent half a day walking through villages to find this shot from the movie Past Lives. And then I tagged it, and somebody from the government liked it.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
But the thing is Korea really embraces their film history. Like I showed you guys earlier, and I'll send you some photos to put in, is they have stands set up so you can actually take your picture, or do your video. And you'd be surprised at how many people probably have followed Scott's videos and planned their whole California vacation around it. Oh, I'm going to go to see U2 Joshua Tree. I'm going to go see this and this and this. And it's all just from his page or my page or whoever's page. And it's free. In today's world, people
So you said it took like half a day to find that location. What's like the most you guys have ever had?
North Korea or South Korea?
South Korea.
Oh, okay.
But I looked at North
I was
Korea.
gonna say, geez, what's the most you guys had to do to get the shots where you almost said, forget it, but then you know,
Rocky
forward.
for me and Training Day were the two hardest for me to get.
Which spots?
They're just Training Day has a couple of dangerous areas in LA that it was filmed in.
Echo Park area.
Not, you know, and then Rocky, a lot of it, the original Rocky, the first one was shot in the Kensington district of Philadelphia. And if you're familiar with that, it's a sketch to say the least. So I literally drove past Rocky's house and people were all staring at me. Then I drove down the end of the street, which is the main corner in Kensington. And somebody tried to get in my car. I was like, okay, I gotta figure this out. And I was at the intersection. And there's people. I mean, it's a very sad. It's a crisis. Everybody's on complete whatever they're on, meth and just on drugs. I drove across the street, up a little bit, pulled off to the side. We're still in a dangerous area, but I said that. I said, well, this is it. I'm not filming. I'm not doing Rocky. I can't do this. It's too dangerous, and it's just ridiculous. And I'll film anywhere, really. And then I sat there for about 5 minutes, and I thought to myself, you know what? I'm going to do it. I was going to do it. And I did it. And I got out of there alive, you know?
And what's the... all right, go ahead, Ray.
No, piggyback off that same spot. There's only a few spots that are notorious in our hobby for, like, everybody has a bad experience. Like the Breaking Bad house. You saw that clip.
Mm-hmm.
But at Rocky's house,
yes.
I pull up to the house. I get out of the car. I'm looking at pictures. I don't know which side of the apartment complex was on. Somebody yelled out, "You're gonna die today." And I was like, picture later, same spot he's talking about. Like that.
That's hilarious.
And I don't know where it came from, but he was clearly yelling at me. He told me I was going to die for taking a photo. So Philly Rocky fans, if you're getting into this hobby, put that on wait till you're a little more experienced.
Yeah,
list.
wait till you're a little bit, and also you got to be very. When it comes to dangerous location, I did one 2 days ago, not on a movie location. I did a true crime location, and I heard it was in a bad area of the city I was in, and then I heard it was completely abandoned. This trailer park. So I went. This was today, so it was Friday. So I went 2 days ago. Finally got there, and I was like looking. I was like, okay, this is pretty sketchy. There's cars coming in and out of an abandoned trailer park. That's not a good sign if they're all closed. So I know something's going on in there. But I got the shot that I want, the two shots I wanted. Then I drove in, did about a figure 8 around, and then there's way more houses than I thought there'd be. There's people coming out of them, and there's people going into some. There's cars coming out, and they're squatting.
They're squatters, yeah.
And squatters, and
or they're drug dealers,
and stuff going on like that. And you got to know when to say, "Get out."
Yeah.
Is it worth it? Right.
I was thinking, like, as soon as I was trying to shoot, I was like, I want more shots. This is great. It's gonna have so much video. But I was saying to myself, no, you know what? You got enough. Get the hell out of there.
Yeah, but you have that meter, whereas I get on a property, and if I'm so close to getting the shot, I'm like, screw it, I'll take the risk. But there's so many times that I wish I would listen to myself, or listen to what that voice Scott's got, where you just go, I'm good. I'm gonna quit.
If I got close enough to something and I can see it and I can show it on camera, I'll get it. And,
yeah.
Plus the difference is, don't forget, I'm an alien in this country, in the United States right here. So So when it comes to something like that, if it's in a bad area, I don't want any trouble with the police. Or if I simply will not trespass anywhere. I will not trespass. If you trespass, you get $100 fine.
Right.
If I trespass, I'll get $100 fine taken, and it'll show up on my passport every time I try.
Sure.
But you take me to Canada,
it's almost like a felony.
You guys want to come to Canada? I'll trespass anywhere. I'm saying it right to you, Canadian government. I will trespass in Canada.
Is there a point where you're like, how am I going to do this? Okay, let me think about this. How am I going to do this?
Yep. I'll sit there and think. That one I was like, I'm not doing it. And then I was just like, I've been sitting here for 5 minutes and nobody's come up to me right here. And
Could have been done.
I know I'm close to 2 spots. So I got it done. Then a guy, like I said, threatened me with a gun outside of 1 spot. Then I just drove around, waited till he was gone, got the shot. Then he came out again, took his gun out like this, and gave me a tough guy. I gave him the finger, and I stepped on I really did. Like, I was just like, there's nothing he can do. I knew where I just gone around the corner to get away from him. So I knew my out. If I waited 2 minutes, I went back, got the shot, and then there I looked again. There it was coming again. And he totally fucking looked like Drexel from True Romance.
Yeah, love it.
Exactly like that. And I was like, fuck you, dude. I got the shot, and I know you cannot get to my car fast enough before I'm way gone.
Well, that's like the urban explorers. You see these guys that just do, they go to
Crazy.
Detroit. Everything in Detroit's like just dilapidated. So guys just walk into all these old factories, right? I
Oh,
mean,
yeah.
there is a whole urban explorer.
I got a ton of
that-
Detroit stories if you ever want to
piece
hear
of-
those.
yeah,
'cause
let's hear
I've
'em.
spent more time in Detroit than after Los Angeles. Detroit's the city I filmed the most in. But I've
Was Detroit more like, was it like a Philly vibe, or was it a little bit less of
no
a...
Detroit's got a very quiet vibe, very quiet, and it's like it's got a vibe, but it's very quiet when you when you cross the border into Detroit from Windsor, Ontario. I always notice how it's very quiet. It's not loud like New York and Philadelphia, but it's so because half of it's crumbling, half of it's great, like not great, but half of it's looks good, half of it's crumbling, but it's also being rebuilt. And there's a real the
Okay.
people love their city. They're very proud of their city. But there are dangerous areas, and Eminem, I'm a huge Eminem fan, so that's why I started going there a lot to do Eminem videos. But I've bribed security guards to get into closed down places where Eminem filmed, and that's worked. And then people see me filming in some of the roughest neighborhoods. They've come out of their houses and say, "Well, hey, what are you up to? What's going on?" And I'm like, just tell them, and they're like, "Oh, that's cool. You want to see this?" And once, or I'll tell you, I was filming. I did a video where I went and knocked on somebody's door, complete stranger's door in a area of Detroit, and told them that Eminem used to live in their house. So the lady was shocked. She was shocked. She was like, "What? Eminem lives here? Well, that's crazy." So I showed a picture. I was like, "Yeah, this is Eminem's one of his former homes." Because he had a lot of homes. Everybody on the street started coming out, wondering, "What's this guy doing? What's this with the Canadian license plate? What's he doing talking to?" I forget the lady's name. She was a beautiful, lovely lady. And then they all wanted to talk to me, and these two guys go to say, "You want to see a really cool house?" I was like, "Yeah, you got to see his house across the street. It's an abandoned house." I'm like, "Okay." So they said, "Come with us." So I go in with these two guys, and they go, and I go in first. And as soon as I went in, I was like, "This could be the biggest mistake I've ever made by me walking first."
You want to see something cool? Come on.
Yeah. But they were also like there was like I thought to myself that, but also I knew that everybody else saw me going with them. They were all nice. They weren't faking it. It's a neighborhood. These people, everybody lives in neighborhoods, right?
They were excited too.
Yeah. So but they take me up into this bedroom and they go, "Crackhead died here last week." I was like, "What?" They go, "Look here." They pull something out. There's the fucking chalk. The chalks are. I'm like, "Holy Jesus!" Like, yeah, I died here last week. Cops are here and everything. And then they took me downstairs, showed me everything. It was just amazing. So that was one of my Detroit stories. So, but I love the city. The people of Detroit are amazing.
Detroit's great. I went there to see Kiss at Cobo Hall. I'm a big Kiss fan, as you know. I saw them at Madison Square Garden, but in 2010, they had their last show at Cobo Hall, which is the original place Martin Luther King gave his first version of the I Have a Dream speech, right? So it's a pretty legendary place in Detroit. And we get there, and Scott, you can help me out because I haven't been to Detroit in a while, but the downtown was like Walking Dead. Nothing
Completely.
was open.
Yeah.
Like high rises of nothing.
No lights on.
One hotel.
How long
and
ago was
one
this?
bar. 2010.
2010. Yeah. Wow. So that's changed because Corktown is now really booming, which is right downtown.
Okay.
And which is not too far from the former Cobo Hall, which is gone now, which sucks because that's where Nancy Kerrigan got it to the knee.
Yep.
Which is I always want to see that hallway. But Corktown is really booming with young artists and stuff. And then all the way up to 8 and 9 Mile, you've got these little tiny stores. People still doing the hip hop thing and trying to musicians and artists. I've met so many like different types of artists at all these stores, selling their stuff and trying to it's doing their thing, and it's amazing to see. So it's a great city. I love Detroit.
One funny thing about Detroit recently, you may follow this story, but they put up a sign, their Hollywood sign, and the local rappers because it was little, came out with diss tracks about their. Like,
Oh,
what
no.
the hell? They're like, "What the hell are you doing, Detroit? You took our money to put up a bullshit sign." Like he's like, "I'm bigger than these letters." Like a whole diss track on the sign of Detroit. Like, and you gotta love your own city to be able to give it to your city.
Yeah,
like that,
that's true. Yeah.
So.
What are some of the that brings me to like nostalgic locations? When you went to the back lot, was it Warner Brothers
Ranch,
that had
yeah.
the ranch, right? Do you guys know ahead of time that, hey, this is about to be taken out, let's get there and do something first?
Like with the ranch, I have some friends at Warner Brothers who had told me years ago that they were going to get rid of it, but COVID delayed it. And a couple of years ago, I had like one favor left with this guy, and I'm not going to get into all that, but one favor left. And And Scott, I had talked to Scott about the ranch. Like,
It was my white whale for years.
Yeah.
I made 2 videos just walking around the outside of it.
Explain to everyone what the ranch is.
the ranch is a small backlot area in the middle of Burbank, North Hollywood.
Yeah, North Hollywood.
North Hollywood. That was about maybe 5 acres, but the original Friends fountain was there.
It's just a satellite studio.
I don't want right. I was gonna say it's so when you say it's not the back lot of the studio, it's actually like a neighborhood back lot.
Yeah,
Right, and they had a couple of studios on there, a couple of stages, sound stages,
yeah,
couple, and a lot of wardrobe buildings, and a few other things like that. Which a plant, all their plants.
Okay.
What they use in TV shows and movies. So
Well,
Warner
the
Brothers
staging and
Yeah,
props and,
yeah.
and then all these houses. Okay, so
So
all right, I
Warner
didn't wanna-
Brothers, literally, the studio is so huge in Burbank, but they ran out of room to have back whenever. So they bought this other back lot in the 40s, I guess, or 50s, and like Blondie was shot there, Bewitched.
So
middle.
it looks like this the part that I've seen that you showed
Yeah.
me. It's like this suburban
It's a crescent,
stretch.
Yeah.
basically, yeah.
it's
Okay,
just
so
a street. Like, I mean, it was probably for guys like us and people who collect history. It's probably the biggest loss we've had since. It's going to be like the 40-acre ranch.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've heard of the 40-acre ranch, but that's where like.
I have, but tell people that don't. No, I don't.
It
know
was
what you're
like
talking about.
back in the day where MASH and Andy Griffith and stuff was filmed. Well, the Warner Brothers lot, it was there for 100 years. And the thing is they decided to tear it down for sound stages. This was a couple of years ago. Scott and I had met up with our friend Adam, who's a big YouTuber, Adam the Woo, here in Charlotte. And we were just talking about the stuff. And I'm like, I think I can get you guys on the ranch.
And it was both Adam and I. That was
Yeah.
our white whale. We both
Yeah.
were like, we've been trying to get on for years.
Adam didn't think we were going to get on.
I 100% had faith in you.
Yeah, he actually.
I kept saying, I was in the back. I was like, Ray's never let me down. Never like we were told no when
Right.
we were sitting in that parking lot waiting. And Adam's like, I don't think we're getting on. And you were like, well, just wait, maybe we'll get the phone call. And I just sat there. I was like, we're getting on. Like I just know Rain. I know when Rain says I
Dude,
can do it.
This guy makes shit happen.
I was very calm. I was just like, we're gonna get on. This is awesome.
And we got, and so my buddy, who I'm not going to name, who's a higher up at Warner, I call him. I'm like, dude, I thought you were going to get us on. We're on the list.
He was like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, he was like, what are you talking about?
It's like, what are you talking about?
And the thing is he's like a major guy over there. So he's like, who's everybody's name? And I'm like looking around going, and then we got on the cart. You know, once you're in, they treat you like royalty.
Oh yeah, that lady was so sweet.
nice.
What a wonderful lady she was.
Until you get in, they treat you like a criminal. Like,
Yeah.
what are you doing here? And then once you're there, they treat you great. But I remember Scott and Adam were sitting in the front and I was behind. And Adam looked over at Scott and go, what is going on? Are we really getting on the ranch right now? And so what's cool about that is it's gone now, right? It's a mud pit over there. Well, now it'll forever live in Scott's and Adam's videos.
Were you the last guys to do
I
that?
think we were the last guys to film there, but I know other people had gotten on. A
Yeah.
couple of people, but they were pretty much. I mean, they didn't let anybody on
No, but
while it was in operation.
But in your community, in the film
We were the
location
only people that
community,
got on.
and,
Yeah, in the
and
community,
you've got
that's
like
it.
this. It's not just one of you guys going.
Yeah,
It's like
3 of us.
cars at the gate with the celebrity film location
I don't know.
YouTubers.
And the thing is the ranch, for some reason, was the most elusive spot to get on.
It was
You-
it was really really hard. It's because they don't have tours.
No,
they never
you-
had tours. Ever.
You couldn't pay your
Right.
way on.
Well, it's a private backlot company studio.
Mm-hmm.
So when you guys went there and looking at those videos, you know, most of those houses were pretty much they're studios.
Yeah.
You know, they're
Some of them were practical sets. Some of them were just facades.
Yep.
Yeah.
It was very cool to see.
And after we got on and Scott put out his video, Adam put out his video, I put out photos. That's probably the most I've been hit up to try to get. If people were hitting me up that I didn't know, how'd you get on the ranch? How'd you get on the ranch? How'd you blah blah blah? And I'm like, there is no key to turn. Like, it's one of those, you either got to know somebody or you just got to get very lucky. The ranch to me was, like I said, it's our biggest loss collectively. You know, one place to go down, like I think our buddy Ryan from Going to the Movies, which is a great page, he does great videos. He just traveled to Houston and he got the Reality Bites apartment.
Right.
And they tore it down the next day.
He got there that day. He talked to me about it. He was like, should I go? Should I go? Because I went about 3 or 4 years because it's my favorite movie. So I got it from the outside and all that. They didn't film inside, but he wanted to get the inside because it does match up a little bit. They copied it for the film. Yeah, he drove 12 hours. I thought he was going to fly. He drove 12 hours.
And he got it, though.
Yeah.
But the thing is with the ranch is I knew I had one favor left. And Scott, Adam, and I were in LA at the same time. And I'm like, if I can pull this off, then I'm in the house. Because I always believe in, like, you give and then you try to be a part of the community. You don't just come and introduce yourself. And at the time, this is a couple years ago, I'd only knew Adam for a few months, and I knew that was one of his white whales. And once we got on, it was like we were bros for life. He's like, dude, whatever, man. You got me on the ranch.
There's a story about Gene Hackman because he's notoriously grumpy, you know, and he's retired now in New Mexico. Good for him. I love Gene Hackman. But he was complaining on the set of Hoosiers and then about, you know, signing autographs or something back. He didn't want to do Hoosiers. He thought it was going to be a bomb. I read this whole thing about it. But he said, he goes, I went to school to learn how to be an actor. I didn't go to school to learn how to be a star. I don't understand how to be a celebrity. And I kind of was like,
wow, that's pretty poignant.
I was like, I kind of get that. Like he's just like, you know, regular guy.
Well, appreciate that he loves the art.
Yeah.
But the problem is that when you're really good at the art,
you're going to get famous.
People love that.
Yeah. Yeah, there's celebrities like that, like Bill Murray, I think, and then someone like Keanu Reeves comes to mind, who, you know, goes out. You see all pictures of him all the time, sitting around by himself at restaurants or parks, and he doesn't go out with any fanfare. And that he's massively famous, but it's the people that go out with 10 bodyguards and all that, you know, they're being a bit of dicks. You know, maybe they're concerned about their safety, but I mean, come on, like, a celebrity can live a life, really, by going out and just being regular.
Yeah.
Taylor Swift can't.
Right.
She can't. Like she cannot go out and without being mobbed.
Well, she could be mobbed because her fans are younger.
Right.
It's the older guys.
Right,
like if Gene
yeah.
Hackman could walk into a diner and there could be fans there that are of age to be like, let's just wait till he's, you know, orders. They respect it.
Well, have you seen these photos that came out of Gene Hackman just a couple of weeks ago?
Oh, no. Uh-oh.
Yeah, there's some photos of him that came out a couple of weeks ago of him at a gas station. And it's two separate weeks. And the New York Post, it was a New York Post, they had somebody down there looking for him because he's retired. So they reported on him, and they said he's wearing the same clothes a week later. And they said, look at him. And everybody came to his defense. They're like, yeah, he's 94. He looks like my grandfather. You know, he looks like an old man shuffling about in some old shoes, sneakers, whatever, pajama pants, and like a, you know, thermal.
It's comfortable.
He's got, what do you want him to be wearing?
Yeah.
A tuxedo? He's 94,
also,
retired in New Mexico.
Also, two things.
Let the
if
man
he
live.
wants to wear his clothes for a week, let him. Also, who's not to say they caught him on the same wash cycle?
Well, I was just about to say, the rotation. He could be in the rotation, yeah.
He has earned the right to wear whatever he wants, as long as he wants, shower when he wants, eat when he wants. He's Gene Hackman. He's earned that right.
How about the performance in Unforgiven? Oh my God.
Amazing. My favorite movie of his is, Superman is one of them, but Runaway Jury. I think that's such an underrated movie. Him and Dustin Hoffman, when they have that scene in the bathroom, and it's two of the greatest actors of our time, finally on camera together, and they're just going toe to toe. And Gene Hackman, because
what year was that? That
was 2000. Oh God! So it was when
they're older. They're
older. Yeah, Gene Hackman's in his 70s. Because Dustin Hoffman says something and goes, "Well, fella," and then Gene Hackman, in totally improvised line, says the line back to him and goes, "Fella." It just mimics Dustin Hoffman. It's incredible.
That's a similar scene to where it's like De Niro and Pacino in Heat.
Yeah.
It's very similar. Like, wow, we're seeing these guys
together,
and it's like, wait, and then you start thinking about it, and you're thinking about Scorsese, and you're thinking about Pacino, and you're thinking about De Niro. You're like, they haven't never been in a movie together,
right? Yeah.
It's like, what the hell, you know?
And finally,
and that brings me to, as far as like great directors, like Tarantino, being able to, like, in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, putting Pacino in there.
You know how genius he is. He put Luke Perry,
who
was the 90s mega heartthrob in the country that everybody kind of like, just like John Travolta. They're like, oh, he was known for Grease or whatever he was known for. Tarantino brings him back, and Perry crushes it in that movie.
Yeah.
And he passed before it even came out.
He did. He passed before. And did you hear? And then you watch the interview with DiCaprio and Brad Pitt, both talking about how when Luke Perry came on set, they were both starstruck.
Talking about celebrity stories, I got a good one. So you guys remember the first season of True Detective?
Yeah, of course.
With
the best season.
Unbelievable.
McConaughey and
Harrelson. So I'm living in LA, and there was a lady who lived beside me who lived by herself. And being the Southern gentleman I am, when I'd see her, because she parked beside me, our places were beside each other, I'd help her with her groceries, and she was so nice, and she loved my dog. I had another French bulldog at the time named Spanky. She loved my dog, and she would bring over dessert or whatever, and she started watching my dog. I'm like, hey, if you ever need anything, I'm just right next door. If anybody ever bothers you, because Hollywood can be a little weird.
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting on the elevator one day, and I look over, and Colin Farrell is on the elevator with me. And I'm like, Colin Farrell is on the elevator with me. True Detective 2 is about to come out with Colin. Do I fan out? Do I say anything? Do I just chill and act cool? So we're going up. He goes, where are you going? I said 6. He gets 6. He goes, and I noticed he was on 6. So as he was going, he was like, hey, are you the guy with the French bulldog? I said, yeah. He goes, he came over. He goes, shook my hand. He goes, my mom loves you. Thank you for everything you do for her. And I'm like, that's your mom? He goes, yeah. I'm like, why didn't she tell me she was Colin Farrell's mom? He goes, and it is what it is. He goes, but thank you. He goes, what do you need? Do you need anything? Can I help you out? I'm like, man, I'd love to go see some cool stuff. I go, but what I'm really looking forward to is True Detective 2, man.
He's like, I'm not.
He goes, don't get too excited.
No.
He straight up told me, and it was a dog crap season of it. But and under the door the next day, I had 2 red carpet tickets for Hot Tub Time Machine 2, baby.
Oh,
So,
nice.
yeah,
Nice.
from Colin Farrell. But it got to the point where we'd see each
Why
other
would
in
he
the building.
why did he give you those? He doesn't have a cameo in that movie or anything, does he?
No, I just told him, he goes, because he wanted to be nice to me. He was like, you're nice to my mother, which is, I didn't know it. You know, I was just being nice. And he was just like, do you need anything? Can I get, I said, man, if you ever come across tickets or something. it'd be cool."
That's what it was. Somebody gave him those tickets and said, here, throw these away.
Yeah, he gave them to his mom and said, stick them under the door. But dude, I'm telling you what, I felt when I got there, they were like, no, you're walking the carpet. So people were taking my picture going, who the fuck is this guy? You know, and I'm eating free popcorn and Sprite, feeling like a movie star. And the movie comes on and everybody in the movie leaves that was in the movie. They're like, we don't want to see this shit. But Colin Farrell's another, shout out to him. He's another great celebrity.
I just said that on a recent video I made about an actress who, Large Marge from Pee-wee's Big Adventure. I said, like, it's just a simple plot where she's buried. I said, but we forget, like people have this opinion of Hollywood people and Hollywood celebrities. Like so a lot of people, when they see the final response of somebody, they're like, that can't be. Like they should be in a temple, in a mausoleum, like built for, you know, a king or a queen. Like they don't believe some of them. And it's like, there could be many reasons. First of all, they may not have as much money as you thought. Matthew Perry's a different story, of course. He was a very wealthy man. But that could be their wishes. More than likely, that's their wishes. Buried. I want to be buried this cemetery. I want to be buried. And also, simple plot, just my name, or, you know, maybe the birth date and death date. Or the family could have made that decision. They don't want, you know, or the family builds a giant, like some celebrities have giant memorials. You never know. You never know what you, and that's, I like to, when I know where the grave is, I like to be surprised when I go. I don't know what it looks like unless I have to know to find it. Otherwise, I'll have a pin to it or directions, and I'll just search because I like to be surprised to see what their grave looks like.
And most of these are most of the sites that you're going to are pretty public cemeteries.
Oh yeah, they're all public. They're all public. I mean, there's a few, and that's another thing people can't believe, that they're buried in public cemeteries. It's like, well, where do you think they're going to be buried? Like on an island somewhere? Like, like of course they're going to be buried in, you know. And I am very respectful when I go, because that's a person that's passed away you're talking about, and then there's other people surrounding them that you want to be respectful of. Forest Lawn, Glendale is very heavily secure security at that cemetery. That's where Michael Jackson is, Elizabeth Taylor, and I'm the only person that ever got it to film in 3 different areas. 2 areas outside, which is where Sammy Davis Jr. is, Sam Cooke, like some amazing people that I never thought I'd get to see their grave and get to go to. There's so many. There's in that area. And then twice I've been into the Great Mausoleum to see Michael Jackson's casket, which is literally impossible. And they were standing there in front of Michael Jackson's crypt. Like that was one of the biggest.
So is he entombed there, or was he cremated?
No, he's entombed there.
He's there.
And whenever a celebrity on that level dies, I don't know how many percent of people believe that A, he's not there, or B, he's not dead.
Right.
It's like that whole thing. But like, it's just a big, like, for doing graves, Michael Jackson is probably the biggest, second to maybe Princess Diana.
Is that grave protected 24 hours? Is there?
Oh yeah, there's cameras,
security,
right, like that. So they saw me filming.
Tell me if you agree with this, as far as what you're talking about, the haunting feeling of walking around seeing celebrities. Have you been to Hollywood Forever?
Hollywood Forever Cemetery on
The cemetery,
Santa Monica.
Hollywood Forever is on Santa Monica Boulevard. You can't throw a rock in that place without seeing somebody
Right.
that was like hugely important, and you're just like standing there around all these ghosts of Hollywood. Like,
Yeah, it's a big. I mean, the thing about Hollywood Forever, though, sorry to interrupt, is it's also a tourist attraction now too.
it's become one.
So
Yeah.
it doesn't. There's not an eerie feeling to me walking around there. There's an eerie where Matthew Perry is outdoors. If there's nobody out there that day,
It's just
at Forest Lawn,
dead
Hollywood Hills,
silent.
dead silent on the hill in Hollywood, and that there's an
you're
eeriness.
you're
there.
actually with the ghost,
Yeah.
the spirit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then lots like Aretha Franklin, where she's buried at in Detroit in the mausoleum at Woodlawn Cemetery. She's buried in the basement down below. You got to walk down these hallways. I'm there by myself, and it's dark, and it's.
You ever get a sense of? Have you guys ever witnessed anything paranormal or anything like that, or feeling a feeling of it, or is it just kind of mental?
No, I've had more like I mean, I'm very skeptical of things like that, but I haven't had many things like that. I've had more experiences where things have hit me harder than I thought they would. Like, especially when
Just in the heartstrings.
Yeah, when it comes to with certain celebrities, when I'm be like, wow, there they are. Or then true crime victims, of course, I do a lot of true crime. So
Yeah.
that hits me.
That stuff is fascinating to watch. I mean, there's an audience, and I don't want to sound cold about that. It's interesting
Yeah,
because you watch these stories and you're like, of course you think about the victims, but then you think about the perpetrators. You're like, how can anybody be
yeah.
so evil?
I should also add that another reason why I do true crime is because when you see a documentary, like produced by, let's say, Discovery Channel or something about a true crime, or you see it on the nightly news, they'll show you a quick static shot of the house or the crime scene, and then they're on to the next. They're on to a talking head. I'm always like, I want to see more of that. I want more of that. So when you see my videos, I linger
that
on
part?
the location. I will walk around it. I want you
Yeah.
to see where they have it because I want to see. So there is that voyeuristic aspect that I have where I'm just like, they're not showing enough in other documentaries or on the nightly news or CNN or wherever you watch your, I want to see. So I'll go right around and show. And those are some of the worst ones I have to film because if people live in those houses or the neighbors, I've gotten yelled at by a few different people. What are you doing? You know exactly what I'm doing. You know exactly why I'm filming that house.
I do videos that are just very check your brain at the door, filming locations, nerd videos, sightseeing videos. It takes a gear that I don't have, that I can say that Scott and our buddy Big Bake has, where they cover true crime in a way where it's better than any news coverage you'll see. Like Scott crushes it, but he has that gear where he can just flip the gear and go from filming locations of some wild movie that we all love in life, and then he switches that gear to pay the ultimate respect to somebody who's passed away. And as part of our hobby, but there's only a couple people who really can pull it off, and Scott's one of them.
Thank you.
And that's not just me and him being friends. I told him that early on in one of our first conversations. I'm like, because one of his first videos I saw was the Dahmer story before the Netflix series.
Oh, yeah, way before.
And he knew, I learned more watching his video than I ever did in any of the news clips. So this hobby is complex in the way is like, not everything is the Sandlot where you just go and be like, everybody, the kids play baseball here. That's where the fat kid rounded third, whatever. To go from that to O.J. Simpson, horrific double murder is a gear that very few people have. A lot of people try it. A lot of people try the true crime stuff, but only a few people can pull it off.
So what do you got coming up that we can look forward to?
I got a few videos that I did in Korea that are small. We have a little community friend group that's probably going to meet up at the end of May in LA. So that's probably my next big trip is LA at the end of May.
Yeah, for me, I'm actually doing because I've been doing so many graves and true crime lately. I've done some fun. I always try to pepper in a fun video where I'm just act like an idiot or just be myself, like just an idiot. But I'm also myself is being serious, but also I like to have fun. So I've been doing a lot more filming locations lately because I haven't done them for a long time. Like as Rain probably noticed, I think I just stopped doing them only because, and I still film them, but I just never edit them. Editing is the hard part. So I'm always like, oh God, I gotta edit this. So I've done a lot of film locations that I've worked on, and I've done about 5 hour-long documentaries that I'm going to be up. So instead of the usual 15 to 20-minute videos, I'm going to have about 5 videos coming that are an hour long on various subjects. And then I've got the whole summer planned to be filming all over.
All right, let's close it out. Guys, where can we find you?
You can find me at Nerd Locations, NERD Locations on YouTube. Subscribe, and Instagram. That's where I'm at most of the time, Nerd Locations.
You can find me after midnight in Los Angeles at the corner of Western and Pico. And it's a good deal.
You said La Brea. Why are you lying?
No, Western, man.
Make them work.
Have you been to Western after hours?
You got to make them work.
Scott on Tape, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, but YouTube is obviously the big one. I said Instagram first, YouTube. But I want to say thank you for having me on, Chris. Idiots in Bars. I've been working with another podcast a lot who've been helping me a lot. The X5 podcast, Charlie Reese. They just hit recently 100,000 subscribers. And my wish is that you do too. Because you guys
sir.
Are very similar.
We
with your
just started,
hospitality
so
and the way you talk. You're very similar. So
shout out to X5. You got to have me and Chris on sometime. How about
they
that?
Will.
Charlie, we're calling you out. X5 podcast, Idiots in Bars podcast.
Yeah.
Scott on Tape, Nerd Locations.
Thanks, guys.
Here we go.
Thanks,
Good
man.
night.
Thanks, Chris.